Well, technically, this film isn't really a Studio Ghibli joint, as it was made years before the studio's founding, but it is the first theatrical film made by one of its founders, Hayao Miyazaki. So I'm gonna let it count. Start the intro. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, back from my week-long hiatus to kickstart Studio Ghibli Month. I'm super ecstatic. For those of you who haven't heard the news, for the entire month of November, I'll be reviewing a film that was made by the critically acclaimed and beloved Japanese animation studio, Studio Ghibli. With the one exception of The Wind Rises, as I reviewed that 2 years ago, and I don't think I really need to review it again. If you would like to see my thoughts and opinions of the film, you can click the link right up here. It'll send you straight to my Wind Rises review. But if you want the cliff notes of that review, it's a great film. Go watch it. I mean, it's made by Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli. What more needs to be said? And to start off our month of Ghibli, I'll be reviewing Hayao Miyazaki's first ever feature-length film, Lupin III, The Castle of Cagliostro. Now the film starts off in typical Lupin III fashion, with Lupin and Jigen robbing a casino. But after robbing said casino, they discovered that the money they stole is fake. It's counterfeit money, and they're steamed and angry, so they're gonna talk to the people responsible. So they head to the small country of Cagliostro, where they heard a rumor that's where the people who make the counterfeit money is from. And when they get there, they get roped into a much larger issue dealing with the young fair maiden, Lady Clarice, who is being forced to marry the evil Count of Cagliostro, to which Lupin decides, you know what? I'm gonna save her. So basically, the plot of the movie is the Super Mario Brothers starring Lupin III and his gang. Now, much like Berserk, I was introduced to the Lupin III series by the abridged series made by Kaiser Neko. I remember I was scrolling through the internet trying to find a new abridged series to watch, and I saw Lupin III, the abridged series. So I watched it, and I found it pretty entertaining, and it got me curious to check the series out, and I watched it for myself, and I really enjoyed it. I could see why a lot of people love Lupin III. I mean, he's just a very interesting character, and his gang of thieves, they're all so memorable, and freaking Zenigata trying to chase after Lupin. It's just a solid series. It's a lot of fun. And sometime later, I heard about this film, Lupin III, Castle of Cagliostro, which was written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki. And when I first heard that, it blew my freaking mind. Hayao Miyazaki, the creator of Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, My Neighbor Totoro, and a plethora of other amazing films, made his first ever feature-length film about Lupin III? What? Now, when doing some research on Hayao Miyazaki, I later discovered that he actually worked on the original Lupin III series as a director and an animator. So it makes sense why he would choose to make his first ever feature-length film on Lupin III. He's familiar with the character, he's familiar with the style, so yeah, he would be comfortable making his first ever feature on Lupin III. Not only that, but he actually met Isao Takahata while working on Lupin III. So you could almost say that it's thanks to Lupin III that we even have the creation of Studio Ghibli. So Lupin, good job, man. Good job. But now comes the big question. What did I think of Lupin III, Castle of Cagliostro? Well, for starters, the animation for 1979 is amazingly good, and it still holds up to this very day. I was astounded at the level of quality and rich detail that was put into the film, while also remaining faithful to the original series animation. Like, they got the movements and designs of the characters down pat, which honestly, now that I think about it, shouldn't really surprise me, as again, Hayao Miyazaki worked on the series, so of course he would get the movements of the characters right. He would know how to draw and design them. Not only that, but Miyazaki always puts a lot of effort into the quality of his animation. I mean, this goes with any film that he directs. So again, the fact that the film looks as great as it is shouldn't really be a surprise. But I guess because it was made nearly 40 years ago, I was like, wow, this is really good. The action scenes in the film also harken back to the original series with its energetic and goofy style. but damn it, is it fun to watch, especially the opening car chase scene. Man, that was thrilling. I enjoyed every minute of that. And the climax was also a really good action sequence, which I will talk about in more detail later on. Now, the ADR work that was done here, and for those who don't know what that means, the ADR director is the person that handles syncing the lip movements with the voices, was actually well done. Yeah, I did notice a few lip syncing issues here and there, but they were few and far between, and there's always gonna be a margin of error when you're dubbing a film from a foreign country. Overall, the quality of the lip syncing was good, and the voice acting also was pretty solid. There were a few duds here and there that kind of irked me, but again, nothing to detract from the overall quality. The main cast did great in their performances, putting a lot of energy and a lot of charisma in their work. The only issue I had with the voice acting deals with some of the side characters and extras, as they would give them such phony baloney accents that felt like caricatures of real accents. Like there was a scene that takes place in the UN where these different delegates are talking from the different nations. Like you got a guy from France, he's like, "Oh, chocolat bleu, I'm the French, here, eat the froggy, bagels, baguettes, and blah." It's like that. Or a guy from Italy, he's like, "Oh, mamma mia, give me the pasta. You want to go and do with this?" It was like, really guys, this is kind of insulting. I get that Lupin the Third isn't really a series that tries to take itself seriously or be politically correct, but I mean, come on, dude, seriously? Those are so fucking phony. I absolutely loved the music in this film. Unfortunately though, it wasn't made by the same composer who has worked with Miyazaki for most of his films. It's a different composer, but the guy still did a really good job with the score. And the opening theme, I fell in love with it. It's so good. It's very James Bond 007-esque, which I wouldn't be surprised if that was their intention. Like they wanted to feel like a James Bond theme. The story of Castle of Cagliostro is exciting from beginning to end. It never lets up. Yeah, sure, the structure of the story is pretty basic by today's standards, but some of the best stories ever told were basic ones. And if there's anybody who could take a rather basic story and make it thrilling, eventful, and enthralling, it's Hayao Miyazaki. And while the story itself is mostly comical in nature, again, staying true to the Lupin formula, it does have quite a few moments of seriousness and tenderness that I was a bit torn by. Not because the execution was bad, because it wasn't. It was actually great at the same level of quality as most Miyazaki films. It just has to deal with the people who were involved in the serious and tender moments. That's what really bothered me, and I'll go into more detail about that later on. Also, the story had a very brief yet interesting political element to it that, while not entirely necessary to see, was a nice addition and gave Zenigata much more to offer the story besides having to chase Lupin, which honestly is never a bad thing when you give a character much more to do in a story. And the climax was fantastically done, full of thrills, action, peril, humor, and a rather gruesome demise of the antagonist. Like, oh boy, that must have been painful. He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3. Also, little fun fact for you guys, the climax of this film takes place inside of a clock tower. And as I was watching it, I was saying to myself, you know, this entire climax feels strangely familiar, as if I've seen it before in another film. And that's because I have, as this is very similar to the climax in The Great Mouse Detective, which was inspired by the climax of the Castle of Cagliostro. Pretty cool, huh? And finally, we have the characters. I enjoyed them. They're solid. Some of them have some good development given to them. They're likable. I root for them. They're not god-awful. In fact, I did kind of like Lupin to a certain degree. I liked his relationship and connection with Clarice. It was sweet, it was touching and endearing, and to a certain extent believable. There was a genuine connection between them. It's just that a majority of the characters in this film just rubbed me the wrong way. And with that said, that leads me to the cons, the issues I had with Lupin III, Castle of Cagliostro. And without question, the universal issue that most people, particularly Lupin III fans, have with this film is the characterization of their beloved characters. Most specifically, Lupin's gang. They are literally nothing like their original selves. This is the Miyazaki version of the Lupin characters. And I would almost, not entirely say, that it's very similar to what M. Night Shyamalan did with the treatment of the characters from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, I'm not saying that they're all on the same level, as although he changed the characters, Miyazaki still added a lot of depth and intrigue to the Lupin characters to make them likable, unlike what M. Night did, take out all sense of likability, all sense of relatability, anything that made those characters great to begin with. But it's still a bastardization of the original characters. I mean, out of all the characters in the film that are from the show, Zenigata is the only one that stays true to himself. The only thing that I felt like was a deviation to his character is the fact that later on in the film he does team up with Lupin, but the situation called for it. But it still was kind of weird seeing him kind of like be buddy-buddy with Lupin. But everyone else, totally not like their original selves. Jigen is like very nice and friendly, willing to help. That's not Jigen, at least for the Jigen I remember wasn't like that. He kind of just was in it for the money, like Lupin and the rest of the gang. He's like, oh, there's money to be made in this? Oh, shit, let's go do this. He wasn't like, oh, we gotta save the princess? Let's save the princess. He never was one to take a noble stance on something. Fujiko, I can forgive that she's not as voluptuous as her TV persona, but again, this character is not known for going out of her way to help other people. There's a scene where she calls up Zenigata and like, hey, you need help with this one thing? I can help you out. Fujiko would never do something like that. She would be more inclined to screw Zenigata over than to actually help the guy out. And the many times that she actually goes out of her way to help people kind of just made me scratch my head like that's not Fujiko. Also, why is she blonde in this film? I thought that was like a wig or something, like she's gonna take it off and we're gonna see her brunette hair, but no, she's blonde for the duration of the film. Never once does her hair color change. Fujiko's not a blonde. She's a brunette. She looks like this, not this. Come on, Miyazaki. You directed so many Lupin III episodes. I think you kind of have an understanding of what these characters look like and are like. But I think the most damning one of them all is Lupin. I mean, Jesus. What they did to Lupin, it was so jarring to see. Because Lupin is not the hero type. He's never been the hero type. He's not noble, he's not chivalrous, he's not known to take up a cause unless there's something to be gained from it. He is a criminal through and through. So all of a sudden he just decides to save this princess because he met her some time ago and she gave him water. Like, that's the backstory. The reason he cares so much about Clarice is that 10 years ago, he broke into the castle. He was almost gonna die, and then she gave him water, and that was it. That's the backstory. That's the reasoning. And it's not a bad reasoning. It's not an effective one. It's not something that makes me go, oh yeah, deep connection. Now, if they were friends in the past, maybe, it makes sense. But the fact that she just gave him water and then that's it, it's pretty weak. Now, hear me out. I could understand taking an established character in a new direction. Plenty of filmmakers have done that in the past and are doing so currently. A fine example of this is what Christopher Nolan did with the established characters of the Batman series for his Dark Knight trilogy. The Joker no longer fell into a vat of acid which turned him white and insane. No, he was just an anarchist. He was crazy to begin with. Bane does not breathe venom to make him strong and buff. He's already strong and buff. He's methodical and smart. But even though he took these characters in new directions, he also stayed true to their core values. what made the characters tick, what their modus operandi was. Nothing about what they were inside really changed. Some tweaks here and there, but they're still the same characters. He still understood those characters, even though he took them in an extreme direction. In this film, Miyazaki did not take Lupin and lead him into a new direction while still staying true to his core values. No, he did a total 180 on Lupin's character. Lupin would never be caught dead doing the things he did in this film. Now, you could have made it a story about how Lupin grows from being this freaking criminal, this thief, who kind of grows a heart in the film, like showing some growth and evolution in his character. But from the get-go, he decides to save this girl just because of an interaction he had with her 10 years ago. It just rung so untrue to me. If Lupin would have saved this girl because he could be the ruler of Cagliostro, or even have something to gain from it money-wise, I would see that would make more sense to me. And then slowly he realizes that he's forming a connection with this girl to the point where he's no longer doing it for the money, he's doing it because he wants to save the girl. That's growth, that's evolution. Miyazaki, you know this. I don't need to tell you. Come on, man. And so that's why I take so much issue with how he changed the characters around. It's not evolution, it's not growth, it's not taking them in a new direction. It's literally bastardizing what these characters were established to be. Their core values have been tarnished. But funny enough, with all that said about the characters, I still overall adored watching Lupin III, Castle of Cagliostro. Sure, they weren't true to the core characters, but the film still has everything that I've come to know and love from Miyazaki films. It's a fun ride throughout, and I'm gonna give it, surprisingly, a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I do think that it is one hell of an anime film, and if you're a fan of Lupin III, just go in knowing that Lupin is not really Lupin in this film. But if you've never seen the Lupin III series and you're going in fresh-minded, you just might like this rendition of Lupin, although you might not really like him in the series then. But as always, guys, I'm not the end-all be-all opinion when it comes to Lupin III, Castle of Cagliostro. I would love to know what you guys thought about the film as well. Did you absolutely adore it? Do you think it's one of the best films Hayao Miyazaki ever made? Or do you think it's a complete bastardization of the original series? You don't like how they handled the characters, you thought it was boring and dull? And let me know, what is your favorite anime film that features a famous anime character in the lead role? Comment below, let me know, and Studio Ghibli Month is on its way. I'm so excited for you guys to see all the videos I got in store for you, and the special guests that will be featured in said videos. So stay tuned, you'll be getting a new video every single day here in November, if I do my job correctly. I hope I do. So stay tuned, more videos on the way, probably some anime reviews and movie reviews. I do plan to see Doctor Strange this Friday. You're getting that review. It's coming. And if you'd like to support the Black Critic Guy just a smidge more, why not donate to my Patreon account? Link is in the description. And if you'd like to send me any fan mail, why not send it to this P.O. box right up here. And as always, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel, be a part of the Black Critic Crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm 21 2nd, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.